Okay, I think we're perfectly fine. I had to make sure we had no distraction because WhatsApp was on and other distractions was on. But now you can see we only have our Facebook and our recorder. Okay, Jeremiah is already here with us. Okay, since we already have one person already, Paul Jeremiah, I'm still waiting for Melvin. He's not yet here. I need both of you to be on the platform so I can mentor you. The WhatsApp has already been closed. I don't intend opening my WhatsApp at the moment, but I think Mervin. Okay, I think Mervin. I think you're the second viewer. Mervin, if you're here, please just say I'm here so I can, we can proceed to mentorship. Every single thing is on place already. I just want to make sure every single person is online so we can proceed. Okay, why others are actually coming to join us? Let me guide you through and teach you one or two things. First things first, there's certain things you don't bet on. So I want to see if I can get a. So let's come here and say notepad. Let me see if I can get a notepad. Now the reason I want a notepad is so I can write out one or two things you should avoid. There are actually four major of them. Let's say where can I actually type this? I need somewhere I can write. So let's say test. Okay, let me pop up my notepad. I'll be back. Okay, so we're gonna start with teams never to bet on. Now, what will simply mean is no matter how we're betting, whenever it comes to these teams, we won't bet on them. These are teams like Lisbon, Copenhagen, Oslo, and Vienna. Okay, you would see me most times. I call them Lico Visa. This LOI means Lisbon, CO means Copenhagen, VI means Vienna, ZA means Zagreb. Sorry, this should be Lico V. Let's make it proper so you'll be able to remember it. Visa. The last one is Zagreb, not Oslo. So these are the four teams you should never bet on over 2.5. Not like they're bad, but the thing is, let's say 80% of the times they play on that 2.5. So 80% of the times these teams I listed above, they get to play on that 2.5. So this is the main reason why you should be betting on them. So apart from these four teams, any other team is good to go. So now let's go back to virtual football. And this time around, I would simply teach you basically on the concept. Virtual football is this way. We have 16 teams, 16 major teams. Okay, let's go to this World Cup, this live table. Now look at it from 1 to 16. We have 16 teams. This is how it's simply structured. Virtual football structure. So let's talk about the virtual football. I know you guys want to bet, but it's actually very very essential you understand the way it works, so you'll be able to get it. So we'll have four top scorers, four scorers, four concealers. Sorry, four defenders, four top defenders. Now this is 4 plus 4 8, 8 plus 4 12, 12 plus 4 16. Sorry. So now what does this simply mean? Virtual football is actually structured into four major ways. We'll have the top scorers, which are people who get to score often. Although I can't actually give you a particular team because it's usually very very dynamic, but the top scorers will usually have people around London, Madrid, Amsterdam. Okay. Most times they change, but these are the people you would see. Then top defenders are people who would always make sure you don't score them. So defenders are people like those four stupid people I called, which is Likovisa. You already know what Likovisa is. So now you have already know what the top defenders are. This simply means these top defenders are bad, bad, bad. Now what do we mean by defenders? We mean by defenders because they have a very strong defense. They're not people you can score very well. These are people that play under 2.5. Scoring them is a problem. For them to even score is a problem. They are defenders. So the people we're going to be concentrating on are 12 teams. We have already removed 4. Okay, the virtual football has 16 teams. So we have removed 4. It's remaining 12. So now let's just concentrate on the 12 we're having. So now every other team is good apart from these 4 teams I listed above. So these are the teams we're not going to be working with. So now how do you know the teams that are actually score and defenders? Now when you get to here, for instance, there's a mistake people make. You see this thing, this position doesn't mean that these people are top. Position simply means they have high points. Maybe they're scoring good goals. You understand? But position doesn't simply mean that they're doing well. Why? Why do I say so? You can actually see a very good defender, top defender. You can see a team like Lisbon or Copenhagen, one of those Likovisa. You can still see them among these top teams. That is because they are very good in defending, but they have been winning their matches. I remember it is when you win your matches, they give you points. So now how do you actually know who is who in a season? I'm going to show you the biggest strategy I use in pointing out. In fact, before I start predicting every season, I make sure I keep my eyes on this, get used to it, understand it before I start predicting. Now what I simply do is I look at, I wish I could zoom. I look at, if you check here, we have W. W simply means win. D simply means draw. L simply means lose. Then we have goals. The first goals, a second column, the second goal. Now for instance, London, which is at position 1. If you look at the goals, the first goal is 23, a column. The second goal is 10. The first goal simply means scored. The second goal simply means concealed. So now what do you simply do? What you should be looking for, this is something I usually don't teach people that much because I just pray they don't change it. But this night you'll be very lucky to learn it. What you should simply do is always make sure you look for the home team should have a goals. How do I explain this? Always make sure the home team, if the home team is playing or they are waiting, whichever, always make sure their goals are bigger than their concede. Okay, I think using an example should be better. Now let's say for instance this is match day 11. We have first match is Paris and Stockholm. My truth. Paris and Stockholm. Now let us get back to the statistics. Where is Paris? Paris is at number 8. Okay, this is match day 11. And Paris is home. Now, however, the first question you should ask yourself is, okay, this is Paris, right? Whatever goals Paris has as scored, it should be times 2. Let me explain. We have London here, right? Now, London has a goals scored is 23. Now, they're just entering 11. So when you say 11 times, okay, they're coming from, you're going to first minus the match day from 1. So this is match day 11. 11 minus 1 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. Okay, let me it will be very confusing, so let me take time to make sure I explain here. The first thing to do, I told you guys to have top scorer, people who are so top, they're always at the top, they score very well. We have normal people who score, and we have defenders. So now I want to teach you on how to spot top scorer. So let's come here and say how to spot top scorers. Step 1. Minus the current match day from with 1. What this simply means is, whatever the match day is, minus it with 1. So if it's match day 10, minus 1 is 9. If it's match day 11, minus 1 is 10. If it's match day 11, if it's match day 12, minus 1 is 11. If it's match day 30, minus 1 is 29. If it's match day 15, minus 1 is 14. So whatever the match day is, minus it by 1. Now, say the match day, that is after minusing it by 1 times 1.8. These whole things are things that once you use the calculator, it does it automatically. But it's very good to understand the concept. The moment you understand it perfectly fine, you become a very good guru. You'll be able to spot. For instance, when you see me betting, you see me doing very well. Like now, I told you that usually the people that are always at the top is London, Madrid, Amsterdam. So let's take London for instance. London here now, this is match day 12, right? If you look at here, live table, which is at the top, season, then match day. This is match day 12, right? 12 minus 1 is 11. 11 times 1.8. Let me bring my calculator a minute. Now 11 times 1.8. The nearest whole number is 20. The nearest whole number is 20. So let's call it 20. 19.8 is approximately 20. Now you will now say, okay, if the number of God of mercy, how do I make this thing very easy? I don't want to confuse anybody. I don't know how to explain it. Okay. Let me take a very big breath. Okay, now what? Let me write it down, then be explaining it. That should be better. Now, all we simply have to do is say, okay, times it by minus 1 point. First of all, step 1, minus the current match day by 1. So if it's match day 24, minus 1 is 23. If it's match day 27, minus 1 is 26. After you do that, multiply it by 26 and round up to a whole number. If you know how to round up, if it's 19, like before here, we have 19.8, which is approximately 20. If it's 19.3, you can't round it up, you just say 19. If it's 19.4, you can't call it 20, you just call it 19. It's only when it gets to 19.5, you are very good in maths, That means you can now round it up and call it 20. So you round it up to the nearest whole number. Let's just be doing it like this, so it will be easier. Once you understand it perfectly fine, you understand why it's as though there is something special about me. There is really nothing much special. It's just that I've studied the statistics very, very well. Virtual football is like every software. It has a sequence, and what I'm showing you now is simply the sequence on how it works. So, okay, you round it up to the nearest whole number. Now the next thing you do is to check the if it's at home. Okay, so let's use it. Let's say if is at home, make sure the goals scored is equal to or greater than the rounded up figure. If is away, make sure the goals scored is greater than or equal to the round up number. So now what I will simply do now is I'll just keep predicting matches now, and I don't think I'll use a calculator because I can do it offhand myself. Now I will simply use every single thing I've taught you so far. We're going to predict 3 matches. These 3 matches, after predicting these 3 matches, we'll come back again to explain. So now let me see how you guys are doing on the YouTube channel. How far have we gotten now? Okay, we still have Paul and Marvin. Okay, now let us, I hope it's streaming properly. And Marvin. Okay. So now let us start betting. Okay, now we have Zagreb and Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Lisbon. First of all, Zagreb is out. They are among Lukovica. Copenhagen is out. They are among Lukovica. Lisbon is out. They are among Lukovica. Vienna is out. They are among Lukovica. We have 18s and Paris, London and Madrid, Stockholm, Oslo and Rome. Now let us pick any match of our choice. I mean any match that we feel okay. At this match currently, okay, these are the match you can play. Now let us pick up any match of our choice. Now the only matches that are good to play is Paris 18th, London, Madrid, Oslo, Rome, Bern, Edinburgh. So now we're going to pick up Paris 18th. So let's start with Paris 18th. The first thing to do is to click on your statistics again. What is Paris? Where is Paris? Paris is at position 8. Now currently this is match day 13. 13 minus 1 is 12. 12 times 1.8. 12 times 1.8. So the nearest whole number is 22. Okay, Paris. The goals Paris scored is not up to 22. So I will simply ignore this match. So now let me look for the next match. London and Madrid. So now let us go to London. Okay, this is London. Now London is at number 2. This is match day. What is it called again? Sorry. This is match day 13. Minus 1 is 12. 1.12 times 1.18. We've already calculated it before. Is 21.6, which is approximately 22. Is the number of goals scored greater than 22? Yes. The number of goals for what is it called? The number of goals scored is equal to or greater than 22, which is the rounded figure. The rounded figure now is this 21.6. Round it up to 22. And now if you look at London, the goals London has scored is 27. Okay, this is nice. Now who is London playing? who is London playing against? London is playing against Madrid. So let's check Madrid. This is Madrid. Now, however, there's a big exception here. When you look at Madrid now, if you say still the same thing, -1 from the match day is 12. 12 times 1.8 is 21.6, approximately 22. But here on Madrid, there's a problem. Madrid has lesser goals scored, but their number of goals. Sorry, Madrid has lesser goals conceded, but their number of goals are scored are high. So now this is what you should simply learn. Now, when it comes to virtual football, there's simply lots of if and else. If you're into programming, you should understand what I mean by if and else. If you're not into programming, I'll make it very easy for you. Now, if and else simply means you're using a conditional statement. If this is this, do this. But if it's not this, do this. This is simply how I create a login system. I say, for instance, you log in with Paul. If when you say Paul is my username, my password is 1234. Okay, it will go to the database and say, if Paul, a username and password 1234 is on Reynolds database, login, else return back and say invalid login details. So you can see if. So if this is true, do this. Else, if it's not true, do this. So now there's an if and else there. If the amount of goals conceded is not up to the rounded figure, which is the rounded figure of the okay, you know what, let's call this figure points. This figure point simply means that either the goals scored or the goals conceded must have these figure points. One of them must have it. I wish a computer was there, it would have been easier. But I'll try to make it very easy. But the thing is, I don't want to jump out everything into your brain today. You might not be able to understand it. And I want to make sure I teach it in a way that a beginner should. So let me come back from the beginning. The first thing you should do is get a book, get a pen. Teams never to bet on: Lisbon, Copenhagen, Vienna, Zagreb. Never bet on these teams. Why? Because 80% of the time they play under 2.5. Now, virtual football is structured into 4 major ways. We have 4 people who score all the time, 4 people who just score normal. We have 4 people who are so defensive, and we have 4 people who are extremely defensive. The extremely defensive people are these people. So we didn't bother to put them here because we're not even betting on them. We've already rejected them since we've already known them to be extremely defensive. No need including them in over 2.5 so they don't fail or spoil our tickets. So the only people we're actually considering is score and top score, people who score very well, people who just score, and people who just defend. So now, the first thing we should simply do before we can actually start betting is to spot top scorers. Top scorers are people who score lots of goals and people who concede lots of goals too. Let's say, for instance, somebody always allows them to score them high number of goals. They can also be top scorers because whenever they get to play with any team, there are usually so many goals that could be scored in that match. So now, in order to get the top scorers, this first thing we're simply going to do is to minus our match day by 1. So let's say we have our match day as match day 16. We'll first minus it by 1. It will now become 15. The second thing to do is to say, okay, now I've gotten it. The next thing to do is to say, whatever match day we have, multiply it by 1.8. Now, the moment you do so, round it up. Once you round it up, call it a reference. So let's call, instead of figure points, let's call this reference points. Or let's just say ref points. Ref points. This simply means, well, now we're going to be comparing our goals scored and goals conceded to this ref points. So whatever this ref point is now is what we'll be doing. The next thing is to, okay, instead of making it too long for you, I will simply just give you an easy step and say, the next step is make sure either scored or conceded or is equal to or greater than ref points. So now I'm actually going to take our time now to make it very easy now. I'm happy you have gone through, you have understood this beginning aspect. You have also understood how to minus your match day by 1, multiply it by 1.8, get a ref point. Now it's now time to start comparing whatever match you want to bet to your ref points. So now the first thing to actually do is make sure either the goals scored or the goals conceded is equal to or greater than the ref points. That means it must not be less than the ref points. Now this is it. So now let us go fully into betting, and now let's watch it. Now you're going to notice that now it becomes extremely very easy now. In fact, you start progressing very well. Let's wait for this match to finish. Once this match finishes, we'll start predicting. So sorry, let this match start. So once it starts, because this is match day 15, right? Once it starts, it will go into match day 16. Then we'll start doing it ourselves. We'll predict from match day 16 to match day 20 using our 10% strategy. And at this point, you can use the virtual football calculator. But if you still don't want to use it, fine. But it's still very necessary to use it because it does some other check that I might not be able to explain now. So, okay, this is match day 16. Now let us start. Amsterdam and Vienna. No. Why? Because Vienna is involved. Vienna is in Likovisa. Rome and London. Yes, Rome and London is very good. So let's check Rome and London. All we simply have to do is to say, okay, what is the current match day? The current match day is match day 15. Minus it from 1. It gives you match day 14. Okay, match day 14. Now we're at match day 14. Let's say match day 14 multiplied by 1.8. We're trying to get our ref points. So 14 divided by 1.8 is 25.2. Remember I said you can only round it up if it is up to 5. So 25.2, that 0.2 is not up to 5. If it's 25.5, we can say okay, 25.5 is approximately 26. But since 25.2, that 2 is not up to 5, so we're going to just call it 25. Now 25 is now what? 25 is now our ref point. So let's just temporarily put this ref point here as 25. So now we have gotten our ref point as 25. The next we're going to do is to make sure the goals scored or the goals conceded is equal to 25 or greater than 25. So which is the ref point. Now we have a match now we're actually looking for. The match we want to check is Rome and London. So let's say Rome. Okay, let's start with London. London has 31. 31 is the goal scored. The goal scored is 31. 31 is bigger than 25. That is a good. Rome is at number 7. Rome has 22. Unfortunately, 22 is below our ref point, which is 25. That means we're going to skip. So we're now going to go to the next match. The next match now is Oslo and Bern. So let's check Oslo and Bern. Oslo is 31. Good. Why? It is above our ref point. What of Bern? Bern is 1228. Good. Why? Bern has a conceding number of goals, 28. Now, follow this match up. You have 90% chances of winning this match over 2.5. You see this match between Oslo and Bern. You have 80% chances of winning this match. Okay, let's also use the calculator to check. But I'm actually telling you that you have 80% chances of winning the match. So what match day was that? That was match day 16. Because, sorry, if you come here, you see it is match day 16. So, match day 16, Oslo and Bern, right? I just want to make sure everything is correct. Oslo and Bern. Okay. Compare. Okay, it says avoid this match, it could be rigged. Okay, but from the statistics, this match is already 80% over 2.5. The only reason it could be rigged is because a lot of people might be playing on it, which the calculator has sensed. But 80% chances of this match going over 2.5. Now let's quickly check out another one. 18th and Copenhagen. Copenhagen is cancelled. Why? It's among Likovisa. Berlin and Zagreb cancelled. Why? Zagreb is among Lukovica. Ankara and Stockholm. Ankara and Stockholm, let's check it out. So let's go back here. Ankara is at position 13. Okay. They have considered number of goals is greater than 25. Ankara and who is playing? Ankara and Stockholm. Stockholm is no. Stockholm is below. Goals scored and goals considered is below. Okay, Paris and Madrid and Paris. Let's check Madrid and Paris. Madrid and Paris. Madrid and Paris. Madrid has 26. 26 is bigger than 25. Paris have 25. 25 is good because I said it must be equal to or greater than. Equal to or greater than. So now Madrid and Paris is 95% chances of going over 2.5. In fact, if you put it in the calculator and say calculator Madrid and Paris, you have at least 95% chances of going over. Okay, this match is under. You should avoid it. Why should the calculator tell you that? Okay, let's check from the previous match. Maybe they've been scoring so many goals and the calculator feels they might go under. So let's check the previous match. Madrid and Paris. Madrid played. Okay, see where the problem is. Madrid played 2-1. Paris played 2-2. Madrid played 2-1. Paris played 4-2. Can you see it? So Madrid and Paris have been playing high number of goals. So now the calculator feels because they've been playing so many goals, virtual football could decide to go under. But the truth is, from what I've taught you, once you have gotten your ref points and either the home or the away, either the scored or the conceded is up to your ref points, equal to or greater than your ref points for the home and for the away. One of them, either they are scored or they are considered, is greater than your ref point, you're good to go. So now let us follow up those matches I told you of. The first one I told you has 80% chances of going over 2.5 was Oslo and Bern. I told you to go over 2.5 80% of the time. But the calculator said it's going to be a compare match. So since the calculator said compare, we didn't really move too much on it. The second match was the Paris and Madrid. I also told you that Paris and Madrid would go over 2.5 95% of the time. You can see it has already played. So it's not like the calculator is not accurate. The calculator is also doing very fine. It is calculating based on the past results to make sure you don't fall victim. Because once something has been happening so much on virtual football, they reverse it. So this time around, I hope you learned something today. What I actually wanted to teach you guys today is the ref points, which is times 1.8. Make sure any team you're playing, these 4 teams should not be among them. The second thing is to make sure the goals scored must be above ref points or the goals conceded. So when you have 2 matches, make sure either the goals scored or the goals conceded will have above the ref points. Now this one has already played 1-3, but that of Oslo and Bern. And if you remember what the calculator said, let us just go back again and check it just to to refresh our mind. Oslo and Bern, it actually said that the match will be a compare match, meaning that virtual football will do the opposite. And I think they are actually trying to do the opposite as the calculator stated. So it could be that lots of people has been placing their bets on Oslo to play over 2.5. So now virtual football has done the opposite. So people can lose now and they will make money. So I won't be able to teach you everything today, but I hope I've taught you one of the major things, which is to make sure you set your who is disturbing me now, which is to make sure you set your ref points to avoid Lukovica, to make sure you get your ref points, check the conceded, check the away, make sure any game you're playing for, it should be okay. This one has played, this one failed, this one was 90 something. I was a bit very sure about this one. This one still was 80% I gave it, but the calculator said it to be a compare, so they actually compared it. So tomorrow I'll also make out time. I'm not supposed to give you guys lectures tomorrow, but tomorrow I will take out time to teach again. So in fact, I'll be teaching every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I will make sure I guide you through. Then I want to see if you guys have any questions to ask, because I don't know if there is any question you people have to ask. So I can, if there's any question, you can ask the question live, so we can discuss about it. So I can, if there's any question, you can ask the question live, so we can discuss about it. Okay, no questions. No questions. Okay, so has anybody joined us? Have we gotten someone? Okay, I have a question. Yeah, Paul, go on with the question. What's your question? Okay, let me quickly take a screenshot so I can update it later on WhatsApp. As I stated earlier, it is structured into 4 ways. We have the people who score so many goals, okay, which is top scorer, people who just score goals, people who defend, and people who their defense is bad, as in their defense are so good, which are these 4 people that I blacklisted and I told you all not to go into. You can see 80% of the times they always play on 2.5. In fact, if you can log into your betting account now, if you can log into your betting account, you're going to see that majority of the matches you lost are Visa. Log in and check. Log in and check. You see thing you want to share. Okay, yeah, I'm ending the section now. Paul, you're here to ask your question. I'll be going offline now. I'm ending the section here, but from tomorrow we're going to go into full-time betting. Or you know what, let's just take out some time to really start understanding the concept. You know, the moment you understand the concept very much, it's easy. Why everybody's losing is because they have not understood the concept. All they Now, when the average person that has not gotten the concept sees Lisbon, they think Lisbon is very good. They think Lisbon is very nice. They will go and bet on Lisbon. Little do they know that they will Lisbon 2-0. Lisbon 0-1. Lisbon 1-4. Let's be going. London 2-1. Let's be going. London 4-0. Let's be going. London 3. Come here, you come to virtual football and say, okay, this one